Hey everyone, this is Jack speaking. Today we'll be talking about scam and how to avoid falling into scammers' traps. There is way too much of it going online, and this tells me that there is way too many naive and not very bright people who falls into these traps. But it's not always about brightness, it can happen to even the brightest of us all, and they can be tricked one way or another. The other day I met this kid on Facebook. I'm saying kid because compared to my age, he's way younger. He's probably about 16, 17 years old. Anyway, so we started talking about Forex, and while not very long ago I wasn't considering myself a Forex trader anymore, now coming to think about it, cryptocurrencies which are part of my portfolio are currencies, which technically makes it Forex. Although they do not classify them as Forex, I cannot disagree more with that. Of course, cryptocurrencies have a lot of differences from fiat currencies, but this doesn't make them any less of currencies, but I'm not planning to talk about that. So we was talking for a while when I asked the kid what is his annual return expectations expressed in percentage on his investment. His English was far from great, but this is not why he didn't understand the question. He did not understand it because of the fact that he had absolutely no clue what he was doing while trading. So I asked him a second time in a different way, still nothing. I asked him a third time, making the question as simple as I can possibly make it so he can understand it. He finally replayed that he was expecting to double his investment every single week. This was some sort of an answer to the question, as I could calculate that. And as soon as I read doubling his money every single week, I told him, and this, my friend, is exactly why you're always going to lose everything you have. He admitted that recently he lost his money. I told him that the best traders in the world have an annual return of 300–400%, and that his expectations are so insane that they're literally out of this world. The whole time he didn't quite agree with that, and he asked me if I don't think this is possible. I told him maybe it's possible for a week, but then he loses everything, and what's the point of the whole exercise if inevitably he's going to lose everything he has? I even made him a video calculating that annual percentage return which I asked for earlier, and the calculator broke down roughly about week 25 because it couldn't take the insane numbers after doubling for 25 weeks in a row, and 1 year has 52 weeks in it. I also advise him to lower his expectations and go watch my video, my top 5 trading tips for you, because if I can't help him change his mindset, he's never going to achieve anything in his entire life. And I mean never ever. If you think you're learning anything valuable, please hit the like button as it helps me a lot to build this channel. Also, if you don't have a portfolio but you want to start building such, or you do have a portfolio but you're not happy with your broker, have a look down in the description. These exchanges are trustworthy and they charge fair fees. Depending on which one of them you decide to go with, they might even give you a welcome bonus. Or you can go with all of them, as I always advise traders and investors to use at least a few exchanges for extra layer of safety. So at some point, this kid said that he has a great teacher who can double his money every single week because he's a pro. At which I said that he should go tell his teacher to shoot himself in the head multiple times with coffee breaks between each bullet, because this is exactly as possible to happen in reality. He doesn't have a teacher, he has a con artist who is taking him for a ride, and this is all that it is. Only in movies like Limitless you can actually achieve anything of this kind. When I told him I earn on average about 75% per year, he said that this was too small, to which I replayed, better small than consistently losing your money, right? I understand everybody on the planet wants to be rich, as this kid said more than once, but this is really not how it works. Try and help others, try and be useful to others. Money are just a result of your own actions and how useful you was to the rest of the people on this planet. I wish there was miracles like your expectations, my friend, but that's really not how the world works. There is so many con artists on the internet that it's virtually impossible for the authorities to catch each and every one of them, but make no mistake, eventually they'll be caught and they'll get in prison where they rightfully belong. One way or another, their destiny is going to lead them there at some point, because this is the result of their own actions. There's so many fake accounts on the internet of people standing in front of a Lamborghini or on a yacht or whatever else expensive thing they believe is going to make you swallow the hook with the worm. They will try and take your hard-earned money any way they can, and they'll promise you the moon to do it. I have heard and read so many ridiculous things, like doubling your money every day, every hour, every second. Mate, get back down to earth, because miracles like this doesn't exist. Why do you think I always give an example with the highest taxpayer of some country who was a trader and who became homeless the following year? Because this kind of thing can exist on a consistent basis for the rest of your life? Of course not. And I bet this guy didn't make more than 300–400% per year, not to mention some insane doubling every week. Let me show you one example of a potentially very dedicated fake account. Now, I'm not saying the account is fake, but unless it's proved, as I asked, the person behind the account could be anyone from the homeless guy next to my house to the Queen of England. So I've sent a friend request to someone on Facebook called Tanner Chitster, if I'm pronouncing that correct. After he accepted the request, he started talking to me, and I cut him some slack because the account looked quite realistic. But after we talked for a while, I asked him to take a selfie touching his nose with 2 fingers of his choice. Usually, I do it straight away in the beginning of the conversation, so I save myself the time lost in case they fail to comply. Apparently, the guy was somebody famous. So have a look at what the account sent me instead of what I asked for. It takes literally 3 seconds for someone to verify that they are who they present themselves to be. It takes longer to write a potentially stupid question like why should I be doing that instead of taking that selfie. As you can see from his response, there is about 99% probability that this account is fake, and of course I block it straight away after he failed to comply. And I couldn't care less if he was the real person behind the account unless he is willing to prove it. This sort of a dedicated account, if fake, could fool a lot of people and convince them to invest in something which would turn out to be a ripoff later on. Years ago, someone I knew was played by a very dedicated fake account and they convinced her to send them £300. They gained her trust over a period of time like 2–3 months or so, but I don't know much details about that other than the fact that the fake account was presenting themselves as someone extremely wealthy. The con artist supposedly sent her a package of jewelries, which, believe it or not, was somehow withheld in Nigeria, which was what the money was for, so the package can get delivered to her. At least there is karma for gold diggers as well. On the serious note, just be careful guys, always doubt anything on the internet if it's too good to be true. And do your research so you can prove that they are actually who they present themselves to be. Thank you all for watching this video, don't forget to subscribe and I will see you next time.